It's your girl Wanda Godfred, and we have with us Catherine. And Catherine is the owner of Vanessa's Heart, a nonprofit organization that feeds our less fortunate friends. Tonight, if you wonder what that means, it says she feeds those that are a part of our homeless community. Catherine has been doing this now since approximately 2016, Catherine. And then why can't I hear you? What's going on? Hold on a second.
Are we back?
There we go. I
Can
can
you
hear you
hear me?
now. Okay. I can
Okay.
hear you now. So, Catherine, tell me, how did you get started with your nonprofit organization?
Well, first of all, I just want to say good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity. You are a beautiful soul, and I really appreciate you giving me this platform. So in 2000 and maybe 16 or 15, I decided that me and my husband saw a lot of less fortunate homeless people when we rode around in the city of Baltimore on the corners rather.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I woke up and I said, you know what? I want to help and I want to help feed people. So I went to the market and I called one of my girlfriends and I said, hey, can I come over your house to make these sandwiches? And she said, of course she said, yeah, because that's what friends are for. And so
Right.
I made the sandwiches and I got water and we drove around the city and we passed out the sandwiches. So moving forward, the next time I decided to do it, I went to my husband's job and we rode around. And what happened was we were giving out the food and excuse my language. I'm not going to say the language, but I got cursed out by a woman that I just handed a sandwich to. And when I went home, I didn't really understand. Like, well, what did I do that was so wrong? I'm trying to help, but what I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize was that I didn't give her a choice because I thought I was doing something good for somebody. I just handed her a sandwich and said, basically like, here, instead of having a dialogue, having a conversation, or even asking her if she wanted it. So
Okay.
that changed my mindset on saying, instead of just giving because it feels good to you, actually make your interactions with people feel good to
Mm-hmm.
them as well. So on my end,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that I was trying to do a good thing, but on her end, she like, girl, I don't need your food. Like, because everybody who's outside isn't homeless or, some people
Right.
are fortunate, but at the end of the day, we're all human.
Human.
So after that, I made a post on Facebook and I asked people, did they know how to make soup or were they willing to make soup? And I got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of responses and I was nervous because I didn't think people would show up. So I set a day and so many people came out and so many people donated. And that's where my event started. And that's how we started giving back publicly. Long story, but that's how it
No,
started.
no, by all means. That's amazing to me because I never thought about it from the angle that, of course, I'm a talker, so I'm gonna have a dialogue with everyone, no matter what. But it never dawned on me that you would get that type of feedback from someone that you were trying to help. But we
Right.
don't think a lot of times we don't see them well, we see them as people, but we don't see them as people at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
We're
Right.
wanting the same level of respect and courtesy that we
Exactly.
receive. And it's
Exactly.
unintentional. Like it's very unintentional. So
Right.
now where did you get your giving spirit from?
Well, of course, I mean, for everybody who's watching who don't know, which I'm sure you don't because everybody doesn't know me, but y'all should. It's like, I'm just joking. I get my giving spirit from my mother. And my mother, whose name just so happens to be Vanessa, she was one of a kind. She was just a beautiful soul inside out. She'll cook, she'll clean, she'll give you her last dollar, and she'll cuss you out too. But it was nothing but love in her heart. And so from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to give and I wanted to help. I just didn't know what direction, and she helped facilitate that in every way. And so in her memory, this is what this foundation or organization rather is set up for because we want to keep her legacy alive, her giving legacy alive.
Wonderful. Well, good evening, Dr. Sam. I'll be and Chrissy's proud of you, Kat. Good evening. Thank you
Yes,
so much
Chris.
and welcome to Wanda's World. We're talking to Catherine today, Catherine of Vanessa's Heart. And Catherine has a nonprofit organization where she feeds the less fortunate in our community. So, as you go about, what made you start calling them? Like when we were talking, you said you called them our friends and you don't like to use the term homeless. Why did you change the dialect?
Well, I think a lot of times when we use certain words, there's certain stigmas and certain
Mm-hmm.
negativity that comes along with it. A lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people aren't passionate about a lot of things. And especially one of the things that they aren't passionate about is homelessness. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people think that if you're homeless, you're a bum, you should go to get a job. They think it's that easy, or, they think that it can't be them.
Right.
And so I feel like I'm not saying that everyone who uses it or that it's a derogatory word, but I feel like because if you're in a community and you talk to people every day, you should just call them friends. So I call them our friends in the community because at the end of the day, you or me, and you really
Right.
wouldn't want a negative connotation like that placed upon you. Again, I'm not saying that you can't say it, but I think that for us, because we're in the community, we have boots on the ground, we just like to make it
Mm-hmm.
easy us to associate with people. And what's best to associate with calling people than your friends?
I like that. I like that. And again, it's giving them the courtesy and respect because I feel like you can learn from any and everyone, no matter what their station in life is. And just because they're in that situation doesn't mean that they're not deserving of your respect. Because
Exactly.
they've lived a life and you can learn something from everyone, even if it's what not to do in life.
Exactly. Exactly.
So so now, as for where do you have one location that you go to feed our friends, or do you go to several locations, and how does that work?
So right now we're actually currently working on two initiatives. Our first
Mm-hmm.
initiative is actually Give, and that's where we actually set up at one location, but we've been to different locations as well as a shelter or two. But
Mm-hmm.
normally our stations are at St. Vincent de Paul Church on the sidewalk. I think it's 120 North Front Street. So that's where the
Mm-hmm.
bulk of our giving takes place because that's where a lot of our friends congregate and it's easier to be able to reach more people. The second part of our initiative is called Driving, which all of this can be
Mm-hmm.
found on the website. And this is where we have our mobile community give backs where we actually drive around and we provide resources like food, hygiene products, anything that you can think of, clothes, shoes, and of course fellowship. I like to always say fellowship because at the end of the day, you never know how much a smile can make somebody else feel better.
Amen. Amen.
Provide fellowship, we provide food, and we provide love. So yes, so that's
I
two of our.
love that. I'm from North Carolina, and
Okay.
one thing that I didn't like, or one thing that I came here in the fourth grade, I lived with my grandparents prior to, and down home we speak to everybody. Somebody will be
Right.
driving up the road and it's hey, that
Right.
long hey. So when I
Hmm.
came to Baltimore, it was astonishing to me that people didn't speak to one another. Like that
Right.
blew my mind.
It's different.
And exactly, there was no sense of community. Like when I was in North Carolina, I was raised by my grandmother, as I said, who was a cafeteria lady. But my first grade teacher went to school with my mother. My principal was a teacher of my mother. So if I got in
Oh,
trouble in my classroom, my teacher had a board called the Board of Education that she could whip my behind with. And by the
right.
time I made it to the cafeteria, I done had two, three beatings.
You
You
didn't get home.
but it was that sense of community of it takes a village to raise a child. So it
Right.
takes a village to combat. I commend you for seeing a problem and taking the initiative. I was speaking on this last week on my show as well. When someone sees a situation and provides a solution instead of just harping on the problem itself.
Right.
So
Right.
who helped you with your nonprofit? Is it just you yourself, or who works with you?
So I'm gonna go back before we became a nonprofit because this is actually our first year of becoming a nonprofit.
Okay.
So for the first 6 years, and moving into this year, it was actually myself, of course, and my husband, my then boyfriend, now husband, but also
Mhm.
I have a beautiful support system with not only my personal and close friends, but also my social media friends who have now become close friends as well. I'm
Mhm.
truly blessed to have a really great support system. And moving forward to being a nonprofit, I have the greatest board in the world. They support
Oh.
me. They listen to me. I text them 2 o'clock in the morning with ideas. They tell me no when my ideas sound dumb, even though I want them to go anyway. So
Mhm.
I'm truly blessed to be able to be a vessel, but it takes a lot of background work and excuse me, and it takes a lot of people to be able to get this mess together so we can get out there in the community and help our friends. So
Oh, that's wonderful. So Andrea Brown says hello. Yes, sister, I'm proud of you. And Dr. Sam said we're a team. I love the support that you're getting. Everybody, if you can like and share the video so that we can get Kat and her initiative out there, I truly appreciate you. Now, you were mentioning your website. Tell us your website and how people can go about donating either time, resources, money, whatever, to your program.
okay, yeah. So I just want to say, Dr. Sam, she's actually on my board, and she is the best. And Andrea Brown, that's
Oh.
my sister, actually my mother's daughter. So it's both of our babies. She always says that it's not,
Oh,
but she helps me so much. And I'm also grateful to her for allowing her to allow me to use our mother's name in the organization and keep her alive. So thank you, sister. I love you.
don't you make
Moving
me cry, girl. I just did my makeup. Don't you make me cry.
To answer your question, our website is vanessasheart.com. Not com, .org. We are not a .com, we are org. And it's
Mhm.
spelled ANESSASHEART.org. If you want to donate, you can go ahead on there and click the button. We also have on our support page, it's the Cash App link and the PayPal link as well. But I always tell people the best way to support us is to volunteer. The money will come. God is going
Right.
to with the money, and He's also going to bless us with volunteers. But I think that everybody, no matter how old you are, when you get the concept of life and when you get the concept of people, I think that you should volunteer. And I'm not just saying with us, you can volunteer with anything. Give your time. Do something that does not pay you back in cash, but pays you back in memories, pays you back in
Mhm.
your soul. So if you want to volunteer with us, you can email us. We also have links that are attached to every event that we have. I'm sorry, every community event that we have. And you can also just come down. You don't have to bring anything but yourself and a positive attitude. And we also take prayers, but we take prayers for the people that we serve. And we also ask that you pray for us that we can continue to be in the community the way that we are and that we continue to grow bigger. In
So
Jesus'
when you ask for prayers, I take it that I won't say a religious organization, but you're a
name.
spiritual based
Yeah.
organization.
Yes, we are not church affiliated, but we do believe in God. God is the reason why we are here. God is the reason why I am able to do the things that I do, and God is the reason why we should be able to give back because God gives us a lot, and we should be
Amen.
thankful for what we have. And when you give back, it feels good. It's a blessing. So it feels good to be
Amen.
a blessing.
It's a blessing to be a blessing.
Blessing, yes.
And I learned of you through my sister girlfriend Lisa,
Right.
who is your sister. So she is so proud of you. I was talking about, I really want to bring people that, my hashtag is like empower, uplift, encourage, motivate, support, and inspire.
Right.
That's what I try to do with my podcast because when you log on to social media, you see so much negativity.
Yes.
Um, and so or rest in peace and just things that drag your spirit down. When people log onto my platforms, one, they see me in my makeup. I'm a makeup artist. Two, they see me trying to bring positivity and inspiration. And I said, what better way to do that instead of just Wanda, Wanda, Wanda? I want to highlight people in the community. And when I said that, Lisa was all too proud to recommend you. So do you know that Lisa is so proud of you?
I know she actually came up. Her and my sister Andrea, they came up for our first give back as a nonprofit, a stationary one. So I was
Mhm.
very happy to see both of them there, and they served in the community with me. So it was a great day for not only the organization but for us. It really made me happy.
So we were talking about how when we were growing up, like even now, what we call a struggle meal used to be
Right.
the best meal, and we didn't realize that we were struggling or our parents
Right.
were struggling at the time.
Hmm.
Now, and deal and servicing our friends, what has been other than the time you got placed out? Give me some examples of other memorable moments.
Oh, ooh. Um, I want to say, and it's gonna sound cliche, but I think every event that we give would be a memorable moment. But I think
Okay.
one of the biggest memorable moments was when we actually had a friend who remembered who we were. Uh, it's when you have the opportunity to touch people, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how you touch them. You just know your side of it. But to have someone remember you and look forward to you coming down and being genuinely excited that
Mm-hmm.
you're there, it makes you feel good because you know that you're not just providing a service, you're providing a fellowship. And that's why I
Amen.
said that's the biggest part of what we do. Anybody can feed anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can just decide if you have the money, you can just go down and feed anybody. But it takes, you know, time to build these
To
relationships.
build rapport.
We'll know who we are as if we've been doing it over time. So that would be the biggest standout for me, personally. But like I said, I can't really pinpoint, I'm sorry, I can't really pinpoint like a biggest moment because I love going down. I love to give. It's just different. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a feeling you can't really explain or describe, but it's something that's in me. It's my passion. I've had a lot of things in my life that I've said I thought was my passion, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this for 7 years. I don't foresee me quitting anytime soon or until the Lord says move forward or move on. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I can't I can't put a cap on the greatness that I feel when I'm down there. So I can't really I think that's probably the biggest surface moment, if that makes sense for me.
Okay.
Other than
Yeah, it does make sense. I've actually, I was mentoring before young ladies through this organization that we call Storm, and it was stepping through obstacles, remaining motivated.
Mhm.
And we took the young ladies down there. And one thing we were very cognizant of is not to take pictures or videotape people in their quote unquote worst circumstance.
Right,
Like we were very in tune with the human side of things. I wouldn't want someone videotaping me because, like you said, you're giving from your heart.
right,
So it doesn't need to be a pictorial documentation to that degree as far as I was concerned or whatever. And I just know that it left me feeling so fulfilled, like um so I was so motivated and so inspired, and hearing their stories,
right,
because I talk to everyone and everything, hearing their stories. And some of them are very educated,
right.
come from very good backgrounds, but life was lifing, and anyone can end up in that situation at any point in time.
Yes, that's true.
So now if your mom was here, what do you think she would say about what you and your sisters are doing now?
Um, I don't know because my mom wasn't a sentimental mom. She was a tough girl. But
Okay.
I think that she would be proud because I found something that fulfills me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
She was very her children oriented. She really loved us. Everybody can say that about their mom. I'm sure, you could say that about your mom, but she really loved us and she just wanted us to be happy and fulfilled. So I think that she, if nothing else, she would be like, "Oh, that's my baby."
Right, right. So one thing that I know, just like with doing my makeup, unfortunately, my body retired me.
Mhm.
And I still like to try to keep busy and do something that, like, my makeup doesn't feel like work. It's my passion. It's my God-given gift. So I do makeup on others, and this seems to be your passion.
Yes.
When did you realize that you had this brewing down inside of you? Was it just 7 years ago when you first started, or did it just slowly build into this? Like, when did you first notice that this was a part of your story?
Um, that's a good question. I can't honestly say that I can pinpoint it, but what I can say is that I've always had a giving spirit. Like even if it were down to like my friends, I always wanted to
Mhm.
get them the best gifts, or even with my husband now, I still want to give him the best gifts, or my sisters or anything like that. So I always think I've had a giving spirit, but
Mhm.
I think it was one time that I decided that I wanted to have a sit down dinner, and I wanted to be able to cater to our friends in the community like a restaurant, except it's
Right.
and I even I contacted a decorator friend of mine, and the budget was so much, and I'm a frugal girl. So
Okay.
when I thought about it, I said, if we have to rent out chairs and tables and all this other stuff, it's taken away from the budget of the food. Because I always look at, are we doing what we're supposed to do? And what I mean by that is, if I spend $10,000 on chair covers and tables, but I don't have any money for food, what was the real purpose?
Right. Right.
So in my mind, I have grand ideas, but realistically, I don't care how many fundraisers we have. I don't care how many, anything else. If we're not doing what we're supposed to do in the community, then I don't feel like we're doing what we're supposed to do. So I think it's always been in me. I just don't, I think that maybe 7 years ago, it just finally said it's time.
It's
So
fine.
I
Mhm.
think that's that. So I'll go ahead and say 7 years ago when it officially became time, and only because I put action to words.
Okay. And when on those days, I'm sure that there's some frustrating moments. Sometimes the ends are not meeting. What motivates you when on those times when things seem like they're not going to come together? Just like, I mean, I'll even take when we were trying to log in, my computer's still acting crazy,
Right.
but we worked around it and I'm on the cell phone and because I have something, it seems like when you're doing things, something positive, the enemy is always trying to stop your flow, like even to disrupt your train of thought or your mindset or to get you frustrated. When you have those moments, how do you stay motivated?
God. Um,
Amen.
that's the only thing I can't accredit it to anything else because I'm a woman. We have bad attitudes sometimes when things don't go our way. I have to accredit everything to God. And it's not being, like, oh, she's just trying to say the right things. Like I quit
Mm-mm.
everything that I don't like. I don't like being inconvenienced. If I wake up one day and I be like, oh, the sun is shining too hard, I might go lay down. But I don't feel that way when it's time to do my duty. So
Mhm.
I can only accredit that to God and that being what I'm supposed to do. And I always
Okay.
tell people that it's not me. It's not me.
Hmm.
It's literally God. He's saying this is what you were supposed to do. And growing up in the church, I'm not in the church anymore, but I'm not highly religious, but I'm spiritual.
Right.
You don't do what God aligns in your life, He'll disrupt everything else until you do what you're supposed to do. And so I don't want my life disrupted. I love my life.
Right. Right.
I love the things that, I have spiritually. I love the things that I have physically. I don't want my life uprooted because I'm not doing what God told me to do. So I'm
Hmm.
listening and I'm being obedient, and obedience has worked out in our favor. I can honestly say within the 7 years that we've had our events, we've never not been able to do them because of lack of money. We've never
Hmm.
not been able to do them for lack of volunteers, and we've always been able to serve people great food, fellowship, and give them smiles and us
Amen.
return. So it's only God.
So, I was speaking on, and that is so true. When I'm not obedient to the spirit, and like every morning before my feet hit the ground, I pray to God, dear Lord, as I start this day, let anything I do and that any people that I interact with, you see you working in and through me. That is my prayer every day. to be a vessel for him and his work. Not saying I'm perfect. I'm human,
Yeah.
and I don't go to church any longer, but I'm very much in tune. And when I'm not obedient to what he's leading me to do,
Mhm.
like you said, everything in my world is topsy turvy.
Yep.
Until, because sometimes, like my podcast is part of my mission with God. My even having a Facebook page is part. He told me all I have to do is be transparent, and people will watch my walk, how I dance through the storms, how I weather the storms, how my attitude. And sometimes me and him, we be battling. I don't want to share that, God. That's me personal. I don't want to tell that story, but until I tell it the way that he puts it in my heart to tell it, nothing in my life goes right.
Right.
So I can totally, totally understand when you say that. Now, I'm going to mention this. I can't speak for, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be on into this, and I mentioned this to you when we talked yesterday. My girlfriend Thais is starting a nonprofit of mentoring with young ladies,
Mhm.
and it's called the Emerald Village. I want to connect you two because I really think that you two will have a lot to offer each other. She's also a mental health counselor, author. I think the two of you will mesh well together.
Okay.
She's having a networking event on July the 30th. If you're not busy, I'd like for you to come with me, but I'll give you more information about that.
Okay.
Now, I want you to go back to the website, donating monthly, weekly, one time, lifetime, however. Just tell them how they can get in touch with you, how they can support you, and etc.
Okay. Again, this is the website. It is Vanessa's Heart, VANESSAHEART.org. On there, you can find our initiatives, our visions, our goals. You can see pictures of us in the community. You can also find our fundraisers, our events, and you can find our donate buttons. And our donate buttons are both Cash App and PayPal. You can also send us an email or subscribe to our website so you can get our newsletter as well.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So, I'm gonna let you. Well, before I close out, I'm gonna say, you guys know that I'm a makeup artist and affiliate for the brand Plan and Makeup by Yolando. And the website is planandmakeupbyyolando.com. Tonight's look is courtesy of the Jam Rock No Limitations palette. I do use my palette, so she's dug in, but this is the palette that I use for this evening. She has a full line of products, skincare, you name it. Tonight's lipstick was retro, which is a matte lippy, and I also used the Bambi lip gloss on top of it. So that was tonight's look. I always use these products. If you look at my pictures, if you need a makeup artist for your special event, so you just want to feel fancy, contact your girl, Wanda God's Bread. My Facebook page for business is God's Bread and Her Paint. You can inbox me, or you can email me at godsbreadherpaint@gmail.com. So before we close out, Kat, is there anything that you would like to say? Anything you feel in your spirit that you just want to get out there?
I think well, one, I have to rewind back and say thank you, a special thank you to my husband Nick.
Oh.
I didn't mention him, and I just realized that I don't know how I didn't mention him, but I would be remiss not to mention him. He is the glue that holds me together. He is the peanut to my butter.
Oh, I love it.
My listening ear. He helps with the nonprofit, and prior to us becoming a nonprofit, had it not been for him, well, God first. In
Mm.
him, I wouldn't be able to serve out my passion as well as I do. And I'm saying that as a community with the people who helped me, my board, my sisters, everybody. So I'm just grateful to have had this opportunity, like I told you earlier, and I'm grateful to be a vessel used by God. And I hope that we can touch many, many more people within the coming months and years with Vanessa's Heart, and hopefully we'll be a staple where everybody knows who we are and we can help our friends not only just live life on the streets, but maybe one day be able to be in some housing or something like that. So we're gonna put it into the atmosphere with big things to come for us. But right now we're gonna work on the ground to get everything done.
I feel it in my spirit that God has big things in store for all of us.
Yeah.
You, me, my girlfriend Thais. Like, this may be a little podcast now, but God has put it in my spirit to keep doing what I do because you never know who's watching. And I found that out to be true with this last week, and it just came out. That just went away, rather. I want to say that I am honored to have you. Anytime that you need a platform, I'm on Facebook, on 2 pages, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch. Anytime you need a platform to get your word out, and I share. What I do is I record this and I keep playing it back. So even if we don't have the audience right now, eventually more people will see it. So that support will come. I I really appreciate your spirit and what you do.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you do, Queen. Like, you are a blessing to many.
Same to you. Like I said, I appreciate you for this opportunity, and I appreciate you for being such a nice person. You know,
Oh,
oftentimes you don't get to meet people who have good spirits, and I'm not saying that to, knock anybody, but sometimes, you can tell people from afar or from up close whether they're, your people, your kind, your tribe.
right.
You definitely are a sweetheart. So I appreciate that. I do
Well,
have one more thing.
still, baby.
We have a fundraiser coming up in November. It's going to be November the 11th. It's going to be our year-end fundraiser. If anybody wants to come, which everybody should want to come, it's actually on our website as well. So check that out.
Put the information out there. Tell them.
Well, it's going to be November 11th from 8 to 12 at the FOP, which is 3920 Bena Vista Avenue. And we're going to have fun. It's actually a sneaker soiree. So you're going to get your best suits, your best dresses, your girlfriends, your homeboys, and everybody in your sneakers and come out and enjoy.
I think that I will come. I can get my drink of
Okay.
myself on. Hey, with my blinged out cane, girl. I'll be going with my little blinged out cane. My body retired me, but my mind is still active. I be thinking I'm doing the
Listen,
damn one thing.
you have your tennis on, so you're going to be nice and cute. You don't worry about
Exactly.
your feet hurt.
Exactly. I love it. So this is the beginning of our fellowship and the
Yeah.
uniting together. This is just the beginning. I always had Lisa, now I have you too. So
Right.
I thank you for coming on this evening. I'm going to close the show out with the way that I close my makeup lives, and that is, if you see somebody going along about their day, you see a queen and her crown is tilted, please help that queen to fix her crown. If her crown is actually falling off, please help her pick it up and place it back on her head. But most importantly, whatever you've done to help that queen, please lift your lips and keep it to yourself. There's no need to share it with somebody else. We need to be our sister's keeper. So, with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings. Remember that the enemy separates, we unify. So, peace and blessings. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you.
All right, my love. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.